What's up, everybody? This is Shawn Tomich, and if this is your first time to the channel, then make sure you subscribe. Now, this actual video is not about real estate at all, so if you're looking for a real estate video or about the Boise market or anything like that, please check the other video that I've uploaded along with this one. This is the bonus video for all of my subscribers. To get to 1,000 subscribers, this is the bonus video that I promise you. Right now, Charlie Brown and I are in Garden Valley, and we are on a trail and in an area that I've literally never been before, which is what's cool about this area and about Idaho and the Treasure Valley, is that I've lived here for 44 years and I go places in the woods all the time that I've never been before, and that's kind of the fun about it. So come with me on this journey. Looks good to me. Yeah, calm down. That water's a little noisy right here. It's warm out. Whew. It's over 90, and in the shade it's not too bad, but it's definitely warm. I think Charlie and I found our spot that we're gonna call camp tonight. Just a nice little clearing in here with some trees for shelter and shade right next to the river. It's a little bit more of a, what am I trying to say? Noisier spot. It's more rapid. I'd like to be next to the river where it's less quiet and a little more of a still spot. But this seems to be a good spot. The other thing I did is that whenever I go backpacking and whenever I find my supposed camp, is once I find that spot, is I like to go and look around and make sure of a few things. I'm in Garden Valley right now, close to McCall. I found a spot where someone had dumped off a bunch of apples, but there were no apple trees. So this is bare area. So I always check around, make sure that within my perimeter I don't see any bears or bear dens or bear scat or any other signs of predators, or just looking around also to make sure that I have the best spot. Because, let me wipe this camera off. Because it's really funny if you set up camp, well, it's not really funny, but when you set up camp, get all set up and in your spot, and then you go off and start exploring around, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, 100 feet away would have been a way better spot to camp. But, or I don't know if you've ever watched the show Alone. I watched that show binge watched the heck out of it. And a lot of times they set up their shelter in just the most wrong area. And that's a lot of time what gets them. And when you look at their map, all they had to do is go a little further and they would have been in the right area. So anyway, but I think this is where Charlie and I are gonna hang out. So we're gonna go ahead and get set up, and we'll talk to you here in a bit. So we got our tent set up, and this tent is an MSR 3-person backpacking tent, and it's total overkill for a 1-person, but it'll suit Charlie and I just fine tonight. But kind of show you the grand tour. This is the kitchen in here, and then this is the vestibule. So this is where all the gear goes, and this is where Charlie's gonna sleep if he's smelly tonight. And I just realized, I hope I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I did. I packed 2 Lucy lamps so that I would have light tonight. I have a headlamp, but it's really cool to hang my 2 lamps up in here. And I'm pretty sure I charged them on the dash the whole ride here so that I could bring them and use them. And I think I left them in the Bronco, but we'll see as we get into my pack here. And we will also discover what's in my pack. Oh, I see something in my pack, Charles. What's that? Is that your kibbies? Yeah, we don't need that yet. You just had a hamburger. This is my dinner, don't touch that. Okay, mister? Breakfast. Yeah, Charlie, I don't see what we're looking for. Dang it, mister. It's really not a far walk back. I'll contemplate it, because we really don't have a lot to do. But, alright, well, let's get to finish setting up our stuff and see what's in my pack. A little bit of clothes. We're gonna put that inside. In the bedroom, in the master bedroom. Get out of here. Our jet boil, so that we have a coffee and breakfast in the morning. Our coffee and creamer. Get away from me. Our sleeping bag, and our sleeping pad. This is for me, not for Charlie. Despite what he believes. Okay, our sleeping pad, our sleeping bag, a little bit of repellent on just because. Okay. Well, camp is set up for now. There's a big, huge wasp trying to hang out up there, so hopefully he'll take off here in a bit. So maybe we'll close this up after he gets out of here. Man, he's big. Whew. And we will talk to you in a bit. So Charlie and I got pretty sweaty coming in, as you probably saw, so we're gonna go down to the creek here and just kind of maybe rinse off a little bit. I've got my towel, my backpacking towel. Now, one thing I've seen at this little camp spot is there's a lot of caterpillars. And I don't know what that guy is, and I don't want to rub up against him. But lots of caterpillars. stream. It's a really pretty view. Okay, settle down, buddy. All right, buddy. We're back. So I do want to have a small fire tonight so that Charlie and I can have a hot dog. Right, buddy? You want a hot dog? But it's late summer here in Idaho. It's extremely dry, as you can see. So we just need to be extremely cautious in doing so. Yeah, anyway. So when I was younger and involved in the church a lot, in the Friends Church there in Boise, my mom always wanted me to be in this Boy Scout group that they had at the church. And I always knew the Boy Scouts at school. When you're growing up, like every Wednesday or Thursday, they'd wear their Boy Scout uniform to school, and I just remember those kids not being like super cool, right? Like in my opinion. And so I really didn't have any interest in the Boy Scouts, like at all. Let me fix my camera. So I really had no interest in the Boy Scouts. I thought it was, at the time I was like, oh, it's kind of nerdy, or really wasn't into it. My mom convinced me, because they had this big, huge camping thing up in McCall coming up, which my mom knew I couldn't resist going camping in McCall. And so she convinced me that it was all about outdoors and being outdoors and going camping, and then that's really the majority of what you did in the Boy Scouts. And I was like, all right, cool. If you put it that way, and they got this big thing coming up in the fall, then you know what? I'll try it. I'll do it. And so I joined the Boy Scouts at the troop that was at my church, the Boise Friends Church. And it was not what she said it was. It was not all about camping, but it was fun, and we'd meet every week at the church, like on Wednesdays or Tuesdays or something like that, and we'd run around the gym and throw things at each other, and every once in a while we'd have to memorize a Bible verse because it was like a Christian group, right, associated with the church. And then you'd work on your patches and stuff. But so I got to go on this big camping trip thing in McCall at this place called Quaker Hill that I've gone to, I don't know, countless times in my life. And I just kept getting in trouble. Like, to me, the wilderness it's the wilderness, and you go out and you be in the woods and you do woods things, and and the Boy Scouts had a lot of rules to everything that you did, and I wasn't used to that, and I just kept getting in trouble and kept getting in trouble. And I don't like to think about it. I can't really name. I think I said a dirty word once. I think someone heard me say the F word, and told on me, and so I got in trouble for that. That was one thing. But then there were several other things, and I couldn't really remember what they were. And then the final straw was I got kicked out because I pooped in the woods, and I needed to go to the bathroom, and I was kind of deep out in the woods, and there was a latrine, but it was about 2 miles away, and about a mile and a half, and I had to go. And when you're a kid, you gotta go. And so I did what I always did in the woods, like growing up with my dad, and I dug a hole, and I did my business, and I buried it, and I thought I buried it well. Somehow, either someone told on me or one of the scoutmasters found the toilet paper or something.
I found it.
Somehow it came to be found out that I pooped in the woods. And that was the last straw. And I got pulled in the office when we came back, and I got told that, or I had a talking to. He was like, "Why did you poop in the woods?" And I was like, "Well, I had to go." And like, I had to go.
It was unbearable.
The latrine was like an hour and a half away, and there was no way I was making it. So I did what I did. And he was just like, you know, that's unacceptable. You know, you should have gone to the latrine and all these things. And anyway, bottom line, I got kicked out of Scouts. I got kicked out of Boy Scouts for pooping in the woods. I didn't learn a lot when I was in Boy Scouts because I wasn't in it a lot. I think that I tried to learn a lot about like knot tying because I found that kind of cool. But really the things that I was really into was anything that had to do with like this outdoor stuff. And like wood carving, wood chipping, building a canoe, or not a canoe, a raft, all sorts of these, you know, wood things. Those things I got all the patches for quickly. And one of the things that stuck with me to this day from Boy Scouts was there was a section in their book, their Boy Scout book. It was all about the numerous types of fires that you could start to use to start your fire, or methods, I guess. And there's like a TP method, and you know, a couple other methods. You know, TP methods where, you know, you lay your branches like this. And the one that I'm using right now is one that I learned from that book in the Scouts, and it's called the log cabin method. And I'll show it to you here in a second. But every single time I build a fire in the woods, which is often for me, I use this method, and every single time I think about that story of getting kicked out of Scouts for pooping in the woods. But let me show you my fire here, or what's going to be my fire, just because I'll show it to you real quick and I kind of explain to you why it works well and why I always chose to use it. So this is the log cabin fire start. And you can see all you really do is essentially you build a log cabin out of all of these little branches, because, you know, obviously you need kindling and, you know, little tiny branches to start your fire. And really, honestly, because it's so dry, I don't even need much. I really don't even need that much probably, but we'll get it going with that. And the thing about Idaho is if it's dry and you can't start a fire, then you probably shouldn't be in the woods. But so I got a pretty decent roasting stick here. I gotta cook it first, buddy. Charlie and I are gonna go ahead and have our hot dogs. So Charlie and I are heading in for the night. Getting ready to head into the MSR tent. Had a lovely evening by the fire and had our hot dogs, right, buddy? Let's see. Turn that light down so we don't blind you, buddy. And I'm gonna keep that lit or dipped for a minute. Well, let's see. I hope you can see me. I have no idea. I'll try not to shine it directly on my face, but you might not have thought that it's like a super big deal that I brought you backpacking for this video, but this is something that I absolutely love doing, and it's something that I do on my own sometimes. And so when I do that, it's because I want to be alone. And so the fact that I brought you with me is pretty important. So have a good night. I'm gonna turn this off before these bugs get everywhere. And thanks for coming with me. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Charlie and I are just having a little morning fire and getting ready to have some breakfast and some coffee. I've got my jet boil here. This is for my coffee press. Whoop. Let's try not to make a mess here. No, that's not yours. This is mine. I've got yours. Oh, Charlie, you're so helpful. I'm gonna have my coffee and my breakfast. Charlie might have some cubies. We'll talk to you here in a bit. So as far as backpacking trips are concerned, that wasn't like a major backpacking trip. I didn't pack out to see something amazing. Get out of here, wasp. Woo. Okay. Come on, dude. Oh, he's gonna be ticked off now. Crisis averted, I hope. Anyway, the trip that I had planned was to actually pack into this really nice packing trip to Curtis Lake in Cascade. I left later in the day than I had planned to from my house, and when I left, maps added like an hour and a half to the trip, and then I would stop and I'd reroute it, and then it would continue adding an hour and a half to the trip. And so basically by the time I got to that trailhead that I wanted to take, which was about a 3-hour hike in with a lot of elevation gain, by the time I got to that trailhead, I would have been starting my hike in the dark. And that's just something I don't do. Not on a backpacking trip. It's hard to find the trail, maintain, stay on the trail sometimes. And I'd read on this online that this trail was kind of hard to stay on. So, and then also, I don't like setting up camp when you can't, like I said, check out your surroundings and know exactly what's all around you at your camp. And so if you go and set up your camp in the middle of dark, in the middle of the night, and think you're in a good spot, you might not be. And so, like, especially like near a lake, sometimes you might put your tent too near the lake, and when you do that, the the lake rises often, and sometimes you'll find yourself getting wet in the middle of the night. I've actually had that happen once. So, but anyway, so this wasn't exactly the trip I planned. So the people that are out there that are avid backpackers and hikers, especially here in Idaho, you know, you don't need to complain and say, oh, that really wasn't backpacking, or oh, what a sissy trail, or whatever. But really, it was basically last minute on my way out here. I stopped, tried to find something, and then on the way to the trail I actually planned, I found where I went. And so, and my thing is with backpacking and with being in the woods is, honestly, for me, it's not the destination. It's usually the company that I'm with. That's really what it's about for me, and just being outdoors. I can be staring at a tree. I could care less, you know, so, but that's me. But I had a blast, and Charlie Brown had a blast, and he's ready to go home and snuggle up in his bed. He's an old boy, so he's tuckered out. But I appreciate you coming along with me, and I hope you appreciated this video. So please give me a like, do me a favor and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.